Can you believe that there's actually things about Tampa that people hate? If you're wondering what those might be, then you're going to want to watch this video. Hi everybody, thanks for tuning into my channel, Living in Tampa, where it's my goal to show you everything you need to know about eating, sleeping, playing, and living in the greater Tampa Bay area. Hey, if it's your first time visiting my channel, if you could please hit that subscribe button, ring the little bell so you'll be notified every time that I release a new video. So, I have lived in Tampa since 2008, so that's a long time. And when I first moved here, there were a few things that I didn't like about Tampa too much, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hater comments about this, but you know, I'm just trying to keep it real here. I'm also including some things that other people have told me they hate about Tampa that maybe necessarily I didn't even think of. Because when it came to thinking about things that I hate about Tampa, I have to say it was not easy to think of things. I love it here. It's my home. You know, I plan to keep it my home till the day I die. I'm not moving anywhere else. I love Tampa, so please don't take this the wrong way. I just want people that are moving here to come in with their eyes wide open. So in today's video, I'm going to cover 5 things that people hate about Tampa. So the number one thing that people hate about Tampa, and that I really hated about Tampa too, was that there's really no public transportation. So I get calls all the time from people that are moving here from like New York, Chicago, New Jersey, California, and almost all of them say, hey Victoria, I want to be in a walkable area. And I just have to laugh because there just aren't any. I mean, there's very few. Of course you've got St. Pete and you've got downtown Tampa, you've got Hyde Park, you know, Safety Harbor, there's a few little pockets there. But I will tell you, unless you have a really big pocketbook for a house, you're not going to be living in those areas. And you are going to be lost in Tampa if you don't have a car. You absolutely have to have a car. And so that's one thing that I hate. You know, I grew up in Germany, and then I lived in Japan for 6 years with my husband because he's Navy. My dad was Army. My mom's actually German, so I spent a lot of years in Germany. I loved being able just to jump on the train. In Japan, you would jump on the subway, and you could be anywhere in no time flat. And they had buses that ran like reliably. They were always there at the right time. They ran very regularly, so you weren't sitting there waiting for 30 minutes for a bus to come. And here in Tampa, I think really the only thing we've got is maybe some buses. And to be honest, I don't know anyone that uses them. So I couldn't even tell you where to catch a bus near me. And there's definitely no train system. There's no subways. There are, like in St. Pete, there's a trolley that runs, and same thing, you know, downtown Tampa. But the public transportation leaves a lot to be desired, and that's the number one thing that I don't like about Tampa. The number 2 thing that I dislike about Tampa is the lightning and thunderstorms. So a lot of people, you know, think this is going to say weather. I actually don't mind the weather. I've gotten so used to it. You know, the humidity, if I go somewhere else where there's not humidity, I'm immediately cold, even if it's the same temperature. So, you know, the humidity's real, but that's not something that I hate. I actually like it. And when I get home, I'm like, I don't know, everything feels dry when I go somewhere else. My skin gets dry, everything. I think I'm just used to the humidity. But what I don't like is those lightning storms and those thunderstorms. Now, if you're outside. If you're inside, it's kind of fun. You know, to hear that sound is really cool. But if you're outside, I'm not gonna lie, that is scary. That lightning, it is something to behold. And I don't know if you knew this, but Tampa is actually the lightning capital of the US. I mean, we've got the hockey team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, so that should speak for itself. But do you know there are over 30 injuries and 10 deaths every year in Tampa as a result of lightning? So it's not something to take lightly. If you see that it's lightning or thundering outside, you want to get inside as quick as you can. But you know, as long as you're inside, it's fine. But being outside in Tampa lightning is a scary thing, and it's something I definitely don't like. The number 3 thing that I dislike about Tampa is kind of the sense of community. So where we lived, and I'm sure it depends on where you live, because I'm sure there are pockets where this is different. So please keep that in mind if you're making a hater comment. I'm sure there are areas of Tampa where there's great sense of community. But what I will tell you, in the suburbs, a lot of people just try to keep to themselves kind of thing. So we lived in this master plan development up north of Tampa in Land O'Lakes, and pretty much everyone would come home. You open your garage, you pull your car in, you close your garage, you go inside, and you never hardly see anyone. It's crazy, especially in the summer because it's so hot. But the rest of the year, occasionally you'll see people out walking when the weather's nice and pleasant. But for the most part, everyone keeps to themselves. And what I really miss about growing up overseas and also on military bases is that sense of community. Like, everyone would always meet up outside. There would always be something going on. I loved in Germany how there's all the little shops. It's kind of similar to St. Pete, where the restaurants have all the chairs and tables outside, and there's a lot of outside dining. There would be streets that are not accessible by car, where you can only walk, like pedestrian walkways. And so that just kind of invites people to come into those areas, and you would see people and meet people that you knew. And it was just different than what it is here. And I think a lot of that might stem also from the lack of public transportation that I mentioned as number one, because you're driving somewhere to run an errand, you're gonna run in there, you're gonna run back to your car, and you're gonna go back home. So it's not like you're just walking there and maybe seeing people while you're walking. And I wish that was a little bit different. I think probably in downtown Tampa, if you live there, I would say if you live in Hyde Park, it's probably like that. And we've recently moved over here to Pinellas County, to the beaches. I feel like it's a little more like that here, where you're gonna see people out walking more, and you're gonna have a little more interaction with people in public. But if you are in the suburbs of Tampa, you've really got to go out of your way to make sure that doesn't happen, because people tend to isolate, and I really miss that sense of community. But I could be at fault for that too, because I'm always working, and I'm not one to set things up. I do remember when my kids were younger, and we lived in a little cul-de-sac, and we would do things like occasionally we'd have on Halloween, everybody'd have their table out, and things like that. But I think if I had taken a little more initiative, maybe that would be different. So I don't want to say this is like Tampa's fault or anything like that, but I just want people to know when you're moving into a community, that might be something that you're faced with, especially if you're in the suburbs. So you might want to just bring your A game and be one of those outgoing people that gets everyone together and sets up events and things like that, because having that sense of community, I think, is so important. Number 4 is the food. Now, I'm not gonna lie, you cannot find a decent Mexican restaurant anywhere in Tampa. I mean, they're okay, but my husband grew up in Texas. We lived in Texas before. So many places that I've lived had really, really good Mexican food, and that is like my endless quest here in the Tampa area, is to try to find somewhere that's good, that's Mexican, that's really good. So if you know of anywhere, drop it in the comments, but I've tried a lot of them and I haven't been too impressed. The other thing is German. German food here, it's not good at all. It's not authentic. I've tried, restaurants over on the Pinellas side, restaurants in Tampa. I haven't really found anything that's fantastic. If you know anywhere, drop it in the comments. I would love to go and try these places out. Now, I do know there's a lot of places that have great German beer. I'm not going to argue that, but the food itself. And a little disclaimer here, my mom is from southern Germany, and I grew up in southern Germany, so the food there is probably a lot different than other parts of Germany, and maybe that's why I haven't been so impressed. But I will say that Tampa is stepping up its foodie game, especially recently here. A couple years ago, I went vegan, and they have a lot of vegan restaurants over here in St. Pete, several over in Seminole Heights, some in downtown Tampa too. So if you are vegan or vegetarian, I think you'd be pleased with that. But if you're looking for a specific, Latin or Mexican or Italian, you know, we have a lot of chain restaurants here. We've got Carrabba's and Olive Garden and you know, Chili's and all those, but the mom and pops tend to be mostly in St. Pete and also some in like Seminole Heights, but there's just not a whole lot to choose from. And then when it comes to groceries, what I'll say about groceries is Publix everywhere. If you've never heard of Publix, they mostly are down here in Florida and Georgia. I think they're starting to expand other places, but they are a very beautiful grocery store, no doubt. They put a lot of money into their stores. They make them very nice, but they're also very expensive. The only other real chain that we've got is Winn-Dixie. It's a lot more prevalent over in Pinellas than it is in Hillsborough. But other grocery stores, there's just not a whole bunch of them. So if you're like from New York and you're used to going to just your little corner grocery market and they have everything that you need, you're not really gonna find that here. You will find a Publix probably every couple miles. And then we are starting to get Aldi and Sprouts, a lot more of those, which I love, especially Aldi that originated in Germany. But yeah, Tampa could definitely improve its food game, whether it's restaurants or groceries. That is something that I think a lot of people have mentioned to me that they're not happy with in the Tampa Bay area. And then last but not least is going to be the slower pace of life. So if you're moving here from, say, California or New York, and you're used to everything like 24/7, crazy, busy, all of that, not so much here in Tampa. So it will take you a little while to get used to that slower pace. I do have a lot of buyers that move here and they are just astounded, you know, how long it takes people to respond to things. And that's something that is just kind of normal here. Like they expect an instantaneous on everything, and I'm like, that's not how it is here. You know, we'll hear back from them later today. Give them a few hours to respond, kind of thing. But people that are from California tend to be used to it being a lot quicker, and they get impatient very quickly. And the other thing is the stores and restaurants, they're not open very late here. And especially if you're on the vegan scene, like I just mentioned in the last one, those vegan places, I don't know what they're expecting you to eat dinner at like 4 o'clock or something. They all close super early. But even other restaurants, you know, say 9, 10 p.m., a lot of places are going to start closing. So if you're used to like in New York or a lot of places in California, you can go, you know, in the middle of the night, run to the store for something. You're not going to be able to do that here. People, I think, are really surprised when they go out at night, like everything's closed kind of thing. So that and the slower pace, you know, we're a little bit more relaxed down here in Tampa. I think it's a Florida thing, but to me, it's good. I think we all need to slow down our pace and enjoy life a little bit more. So anyway, those are the 5 things, that some of them that I hate and some that other people have told me they hate about Tampa. Overall, Tampa is amazing. It's the best place I've ever lived in my entire life. And like I said in the intro, I am never planning to move. So if you are considering a move to Tampa and you've got questions about the area, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email. I'd love to help you. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button, ring the little bell so you'll be notified when I release the next one. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.